Too easy. Okay. What up, Suns fans? Suns get the win in Denver, improving their record to 43 and 30 on the season. And we'll talk about it all and more in just a second.
Kevin Durant delivers. Gorgeous move for Bradley Beal.
Personally, I feel like that brother needed help.
Devin Booker with the clutch three.
Okay. Oh my God. If you're a Suns fan, we are on top right now. We're right here. We're on top of the freaking earth. This is it. Okay. Before I get into this, I should probably take care of a little something. So, if you're a consistent viewer of this channel, which if you haven't, please hit that subscribe and like button. But if you have not been watching us a lot, you may notice that I don't have an annoying guy right next to me. Well, he is busy and he couldn't make it today. So, it is just me today. With that out of the way, Suns get a big win in Denver, and it's this last two game, uh, this last two game span that the Suns have had is such whiplash. It perfectly describes what being a Sun fan has been this whole season, right? Because we we drop a game, we underestimate the San Antonio Spurs, who the playoff San Antonio Spurs, and lose in terrible fashion. That game was awful for all sorts of things. and, and then we come into this game. I was dreading this game. I after last game, I thought it was all over. If you watched our last post game interview, which if you haven't, go check that out against the Spurs, me and Kyle were seriously panicking. We thought the Suns season was in dire jeopardy, which it might still is. Okay. We're not out of the tool shed yet. There's still 9 more games in the season. All of them, you if you watch the national television broadcasts of tonight, then you probably heard it bring it up a million times. Suns are fighting for the play-in spot. Are fighting for the number 1 seed in the West for 2 straight years. So this game is really big. It's such whiplash going from the Spurs to now beating the Nuggets again. This is our second time beating the Nuggets in the season. And this is actually our last time facing them. And we win the season series. This is great. This is great. And this describes the Suns' relationship, Suns fans' relationship with the Suns this entire season. Because on one hand, you have god awful isolation basketball. It's terrible. Turnovers galore, entitlement. We've seen it all. If you've been watching every game this season as a Suns fan, you've been through it all, just like I have. But then you see games like this. You see games like this where everything was clicking for the Suns. Okay? The Suns played with energy. They played with confidence. They were locked in. They had a memo and they were trying to answer back. Now, this just brings us Suns fans back in. Abusive relationship, one could say. Because on one hand, it's really awful, and then the next, you see this masterpiece. This great masterpiece, okay? KD dropped 30, was basically unstoppable. He went 12 of 20 from the field. He was great. 3 of 4 from 3. Hit all of his free throws. Okay? And not just that, he was really a defensive piece during this whole game. And that's what we need him to. had 5 blocks this game. He had 13 rebounds. Okay? That 5 blocks, ESPN brought up the stat saying that that is the most blocks KD has had since 2019. KD was so good this game. And, I think we've all been hating on KD this last couple of games, but it's good to see him thrive when we most need him during a such pivotal game. As much as I hate that we're at this point that we have to call this game and last game, the Spurs game, a must win. It's a little embarrassing saying that, but the way the West works and just the way the Suns have played the entire season ends us up here. And that's why so many Suns fans, including us, were so disappointed because you can't drop anything in this game. All right, you drop blood in this Western Conference, you're getting eaten alive immediately. All right, the Suns have been stuck in a race with the Kings and Mavs for like all of post All-Star break, and we've been switching the 6th seed, 7th seed, 8th seed. We've seen it all these past couple of games. And especially now that we dropped that Spurs one, which really rubs me the wrong way. We could have had a 5-game winning streak now. But unfortunately, they did not. They just weren't prepared for that. But that's bygones. We're past that now. And we have to move on. Okay? Suns have to get on they have to become consistent here. And that's what everyone wants to see them do. Okay? Consistency is a huge problem on this team. And going forward through these next 9 games, really important 9 games, okay? For us to not even be in the play-ins, a worst nightmare getting locked into a must-win game is not what most Suns fans expected this season to be or to come down to. Okay? But just great response from Vogel and the whole team. They really outplayed the Nuggets tonight. They outshot them. They had great defense when they needed to. And Nuggets were in a strange shooting slump tonight. It was tough for them to even get a shot today. All right? So I cover pre-game primers before every game. If you haven't been noticing, I release it around like 1 or 2 p.m. during game day. So if you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's in our shorts, right? And I covered that Beal and Nurkic were injured, were questionable for this game, and last second, Beal was slated to return this game, and he played a really pivotal part in that first quarter. Right, he was knocking down threes, 3 after 3, and he made himself a target, basically saying that, "Hey, Nuggets, even though I'm injured, you can't leave me open like this." And that's what we needed, is to not have one of these Josh Okogie scenarios where like, oh, he's a non-shooter, we could just leave him open and play like 4 and 5 or 5 and 4. So it's really great. Beal did dirty work tonight again. Okay? Because he didn't hit much shots after those threes. He went 3 of 7 from 3 for the rest of the game and 3 of 11. Those were the only 3 shots he made for the whole game. Pretty bad. But he once again had 7 assists and 4 rebounds, which is great. We need him to do that just kind of dirty work to make sure everything's still flowing and Suns have a consistent effort in the game and an offensive presence. Um, man, do I want to talk about Book? Oh boy. Okay, so listen, we all love Book, but every now and then he makes a couple questionable plays and he has a weird game or two. Book was great last game for the most part, other than a couple bad turnovers, but he still had like 30 points and kind of redeemed himself at the end there. And I'm not saying Booker tonight was completely awful. He had his moments, but for the most part, 9 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 turnovers. Right? It's just not a Book night. But that's where he just filled in the role of being a point guard, and KD became the scorer. As we find that, this has become the format for the big three, where one of them will get hot and they just feed that guy, and then Beal and Booker just hit a couple shots every now and then, which is good. It's really great that we have a kind of consistent wheel like that. I believe Beal, if you guys have been watching this, Beal has this diary that he's been doing throughout the season, and he said that like most people's expectations, fans' expectations for KD, Beal, and Book to all go for 3 or like go for 30 each night, and that was a bit unrealistic. And yeah, we technically don't need that. We just need some great defense and some good offense. And we win important games like this. Okay. So Beal was an unexpected late to the party candidate, but Nurkic was out tonight. All right, he's out for an ankle sprain, and that's really bad because even if you told a fan at the beginning of the season that oh hey Nurkic is going to be out, but we have the big three, that fan wouldn't think anything that wouldn't think of that much, right? Because it's Nurk just this some guy, but Nurk has really become so important to this team. Is often on court plus and minus. It's just so pivotal. He's so great at this team. Me and Kyle have gushed on about Nurkic this whole time. So when he was announced out for tonight, I was worried. Because the last time the Suns faced the Nuggets, Nurkic did a really great job on guarding Jokic. And tonight, well, Eubanks filled in for Nurkic. But unfortunately, we did not get that Eubanks masterclass. And he had a couple of games ago. Okay, we got Stink. You stink. He stinked it up pretty bad. But he had his moments. He got some rebounds other than volleyballing. I don't know why this team, especially Eubanks, likes to volleyball. Just swipes the ball away. What is that about, man? Just grab the ball. Tangent aside, Eubanks was all right. He didn't see. Well, I guess he did see most of the minutes. He played 27 minutes, all pretty much inconsequential. All right, he was a plus 11 for tonight. Pretty bad. But what I didn't expect tonight was Thad Young. Okay? Thad Young steps up from the bench. And now there's more to talk about the bench. Obviously, you have Eric Gordon, who had 10 points of his own, went 2 of 5, and made some tough mid-range shots. So that's another 10. Bobo was great. All right. They challenged, Nuggets tried challenging him on the perimeter, and he answered back, swishing both of his two attempts at three. Bobo was great. Royce, he had some great defense. He made a three. But I think what most people didn't expect was Thad Young to come in here. Uh, a free agency guy, or I forget the, I guess like a waved guy, right? Team didn't want him, so he's in free agency, right? I almost called him Trey Young. Thad Young was so great this game. Okay, he's a great passer. He had some great passes tonight. He just fit the mold. He had some great hustle point. He just had some great hustles. I literally have a moment written here in my notes where literally someone missed a shot and Gordon was about to rebound it, and that just ripped it out of his hands. That is freaking hustling. And that's absolutely what we need every single game like this. We need one of our bench guys to step up. You love to see when your bench steps up. This is great. And he went 3 of 4 from the field. Now, I'll admit, I thought going into this game that Thad was kind of washed because, like, the garbage time minutes we've seen from him, we've seen him miss layups. But tonight he was really good. Okay, he had a moment, especially at the end of the second quarter, where Booker missed a shot and then Thad rebounded it, and then with Jokic contesting him, he hit the fader to close out the half. He was just so great and completely not what I was expecting. He had 6 points at the end, 9 rebounds. All right, he was a terrific backup, basically small center for when Eubanks had to go sit on the bench. But he was good. I don't think we'll be seeing more minutes from Thad Young when Nurkic comes back, unfortunately, because based on how Vogel likes to play his guys, Thad Young is just some extra depth, and yeah, we're not going to see much from him as I expect. But just overall great teamwork. Okay, now as great as this game was, I don't think it wasn't a complete masterpiece. Obviously, we still have a turnover problem. 17 turnovers, and most of them early on in the game came from miscommunications or just like KD losing the ball or we got stripped, Booker gets stripped, and it's really frustrating that we're still dealing with those turnovers. Literally, if you just cut in half most turnovers this season, Suns would probably be like a 50-win team, right? If you cut like all of our turnovers in half. But that is still a problem. And honestly, I don't know if we're getting a solution to that. We might find a solution in the off season, but for now, I think we just might have to stick with this problem, which is going to be really bad uh, when it comes playoff time. All right. Now, what I meant when Suns were playing with energy tonight, we're unloading from three. We had 16 threes and we're shooting 48. My bad. 48% from three. That's great. And we have 51 team rebounds, 12 offensive rebounds. That's great hustle. The boys showed out tonight, and we have a great win to show for it. So now we look ahead. What's next? The Big Three is now a collective 20-12 when the Big Three is united. So that's good. But now with 9 games left, me and Kyle made a prediction last episode on how the last 10 games would go, and we both agreed on 5-5. We'd split these last 10 games. And well, we already have one in that column. So still more to come from that. We're not completely off of that. But now the Suns are going to go face Oklahoma next, which actually Kyle is going to be gone for that one. So I'll still be here doing this by myself, this whole podcast by myself. Kyle will actually be at that game tonight, Friday, when that happens. But Oklahoma City lost to the Rockets tonight. Really strange. Rockets, man. That's a completely different conversation. The sudden jump that the Rockets have had. They have been like, they're literally 10. They have a 10-game winning streak. They're literally the hottest team in the NBA right now. No other team even comes close. The only other closest team is the Lakers, who have a 5-game winning streak. But with this win, Sacramento has not played tonight, nor has Mavericks played tonight. So we get an automatic bump up to the 7th seed. Now, if you've been a Suns fan and you've been watching so-called Western Conference matchups, then the next, I think it's tomorrow, is a really interesting game because the Mavs and Kings are facing each other. They faced each other yesterday, and Mavs blew them out by 40. But they're facing again. I think for us Suns fans, our ideal scenario would be Kings winning, Kings taking that second game. Obviously, we'd have to win our Thunder game. They lost today. So yeah. But I think that will do it here. Okay? Huge W. Shout out to Baxter in chat. Huge W. I didn't see you until now. Sorry, Baxter. But yeah, that will do it for this podcast, whatever you want to call this. Suns win, really great win, and we'll be back here Friday. I'll be back here Friday to cover when Suns take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Make sure to like and subscribe, and remember, go Suns!
Kevin Durant